Andre Sospino with Dale Solution, coming at you today with my whiteboard, wanting to really illustrate some fundamental points to getting to your goals, to getting to results, to getting to production, and to being able to build that freedom within your home-based business or any business whatsoever. If you're trying to really launch a product or an app or some type of service or coaching, whatever it may be, really, what is the step-by-step awareness that we really need to have in order to get to our goals faster? And 3 fundamental principles that I learned that allow me to be aware that I'm in the right mindset, that I'm in the right state overall, were these 3 positive, productive actions that really allow you to keep moving towards what you're trying to get to. So, learn, act, and adjust. Learning and then acting upon what you learn are very different things, and making sure that you're adjusting and that you are aware of what you could have done better, but still able to now learn a little bit differently and act a little bit differently without letting the ego get bruised due to the fact that sometimes we may be defensive when we have to admit that we have to make changes towards something that we work so hard for, whether it's a marketing strategy or a product or a service. And under that, right, the negative to these, the opposites of these, would really be being closed, being idle. The opposite to adjusting and change would be complacency. Complacent, right? Being complacent. My handwriting is not the best, but you get my drift. So these are the positives, these are the negatives. And so many times, we can confuse this part, the adjusting and the change, to a lot of the negative emotions that make us feel that we're not headed in the right direction, that we're not really making the progress that we need to make. But that is what failing forward is. Failing forward is understanding that you could have done something better and adjusting it and knowing that regardless of whether your idea failed or it succeeded, you learned something from it that's going to make you more of an expert, it's going to make you more credible, and that's really going to allow you to use that towards making the final end service or product. So, but here's what happens. So many times, once we start to get closed to the other ideas or perspectives that can help make our business better, what happens is from there we go idle. So many times we can feel that the world's against us, that nobody's on our side, and we feel like it's overwhelming to take on your own. So now we go back to the bad habits of watching television, taking a break, heading to the refrigerator when we should be picking up the phone, going through Facebook news feeds when we should be connecting with people and contributing to that. Or just watching funny videos of cats, right, on YouTube when we should be creating our product or reading, picking up a book. So let's really look at what that looks like from a perspective of day-by-day life. Here we have our goal, here we have the present, and we have time and results. Now, as we're along our journey, it really is an up and down in a sense, right? We go through our great moments and we go through our tough moments. We go through the moments where we're learning and growing and we're excited and we're taking that action, and then when we have to make the change, right, it's usually the tougher part. It's usually when the honeymoon's over and you really have to adjust and grow and progress, because change is just part of life. And the truth is that when you are making those adjustments and learning and then acting upon them and making those adjustments, it's never really a downward spiral. You're never taking a step backward. Really what you're doing is that you're just maybe at a slight plateau in production results or numbers, but regardless, you are growing internally. And if you're aware that you're in this progression, if you're aware whether you're being defensive or idle, you can actually now adjust your attitude and create an attitude that's a lot more open and less defensive to things that maybe we didn't agree with presently but can apply for us today. Whether we have a disagreement in the past and we disputed something, we can really always come back, because at the end, we want the reward. It's not so much about being right as opposed to being rich, right? Being rich with knowledge, being rich with money, being rich with health, being rich with your relationships, due to the fact that you're less defensive to change and to open, and you're open to being flexible and adjustments and things that may have been different for you in the past. But once we become closed, then it really does start to turn into a downward spiral, because we isolate ourselves and we don't allow ourselves to really be able to look, learn, and grow with time, because time will always be moving forward. Time will never really stop if we stop. So once again, this awareness really allows us to see that there's really no such thing as a plateau because we're always moving in one direction, and that's forward in time. And it's whether you're present to what you have to do in those moments, or you're really going to ascend and be more enlightened and get the results that you're looking for if you're someone as ambitious as trying to change the world, right? And in those type of leadership positions is when you have to be the most open to making the adjustments and the change, because you have to delegate and you have to share responsibility with others. But once again, it's just making sure that you're learning, that you're acting upon that, and then you're making the proper adjustments. Making the proper adjustments and not sticking to one way of doing it, because at the same time, once you get to this goal, there's really always a goal right after that. There's always going to be an obstacle or a challenge for you to overcome and for you to solve, so you can offer that solution to others. But it's, right, so right here, we really see something very similar to the story of Henry Ford when he made the Model T, and afterwards, after the Model T, which was practically the first car ever, was such a huge success, Henry Ford wanted to make no changes to it whatsoever. So many times when we get to this goal and we were on the right track and we were really learning and acting and adjusting, sometimes the goal makes our ego go up, and now, once again, we can be heading in a downward spiral due to the fact that we feel entitled to no longer adjust due to our previous results. So really making sure that after every goal, you're aware that there's always someone trying to go further, always being aware that you want to go further, that you want to keep progressing, because time is going to keep going, and really, if there's more time ahead of you, then there's always going to be more goals and more challenges, more obstacles, and more success ahead of you as well. So I hope you really got something out of this. I hope you guys are constantly learning, acting, and adjusting, being open to change, being flexible to adjustments, and flexible to ideas that were once not yours, adopting them and taking them in. So other than that, everybody, hope you enjoyed the video. Share it if you like it. Take care and good luck.